70, 2-length push on the front for 80.
Welcome to Special Stage Extra and welcome to the final round of the Welsh Rally Championship. It's the Wydene Rally. It's back, and after a hard-fought series, no more so than last time out when Luke Francis won the championship, quite literally with a bang, rolling out on the Woodpecker, we have got battles to tie up right through the leaderboard. Let's check out some of those battles right now. On to the first of the day's stages then, and it will be the lead for Sean Gardner and Ben Innes at this stage, although the time out of the car was still taking its toll, and they were not happy with their progress. Sean, back here at the Wydene, how's it gone out there?
Not good at all, not good at all. A bit of me, and car's just not right at all. But just lacking confidence, and I went off on stage 2, quite a way off as well. I'm very lucky to get on. So, but it's not going very well.
It would, though, be a good start for Paul Davey and Roger Allen. They lead the way in the Group N class this weekend, having a relatively trouble-free run so far. Always smiling, whether you're in a straight line or sideways.
Yeah, sideways especially, yeah. It's been good this morning. Yeah, slippy, yeah. Just going to check it over and see if we got any problems. But
problem-free run so far, then?
Yeah, we've been off a little bit, but I think probably everyone has, hasn't they? So.
Still smiling, so it must have been fun. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Andrew Jones and Keaton Williams were in the battle for several prizes this weekend, including the big one, second overall in the championship, of course, still to be tied up. Things start well with third place, but there will be a knocking from the back of the car to be looked at in service. Andrew, I'm not sure if that is sheer grit as you drove in here, that look on your face, or if it's determination, but you're in the fight for second in the championship. Today matters. How is it out there?
Slippy, it's really slippy. But just got a weird noise coming from the back axle, I think, so I don't know if it's a diff problem or not, so we'll see. I'll just get into service now and see what's what. I hope it's not, but...
He's looking good in that fight at the moment. You're doing what you need to do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're having fun, actually, so...
Good luck sorting that noise.
Thank you.
Simon Thomas and Mark Williams will be finding the conditions slippery just like everyone else. They'd be experimenting with some different tyres in service in an attempt to try and get some more grip. These stages are normally great for Evos. How's it going out there?
Very slippery.
Yeah.
Just going to put some new tyres on the back now. I think the back's doing all the steering at the moment.
It will be the Class 7 lead for Ashley Davies and Sam Fordham at this stage. They were having a good run, although slippery just like it was for everyone. They would, of course, be enjoying themselves. Plenty of sideways to be had in these forests.
Really slippy on the braking, and we had a spin, a couple of late calls and an overshoot. But yeah, it's been good. It's tough, but it's good.
I'm told it's like ice skating. Instead of using the brakes, if you go sideways, you'll stop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, using the banks to slow us down, like there's snow banks. We're going to go for some training in the winter, so hopefully that will pay off next year.
Leading the way in Class 3 at this stage were Chris Powell and Jim Lewis. They were enjoying the stages as well, and the slippery conditions just didn't seem to be phasing them at all in that sunbeam. The fight would be on in that class, though, with Dave Brick and Phil Clark lying second at this stage. Only 2 seconds between the pair. They would, however, be sure something wasn't right at the back of the car. Things to be looked at again for Brick in service. Werg Utting and Bob Stocko would have a place in the championship at stake here. They were looking at second to finish the season if they could get the result they needed. But as always, the pressure would be off and the weekend would all be about having fun inside this car. Simon Dalton and Jamie Vaughan come here with a lack of experience driving these stages, so they really didn't know what to expect. 9th place for now, though, wasn't a bad start considering, and it was something to build on this afternoon. And rounding out the top 10 would be James Watkins and Richard Suter. They were still getting used to four-wheel drive this season, and this was certainly the round to be having it. This weekend would be just about getting to the finish for Tim Keynes and Richard May, and they look good for that at this stage at least, with 11th place on the leaderboard and the lead in Class 6 for now. For Tim Freeman and Felix Wiseman, it would be the lead in Class 12. They were taking it steady so as not to cause any damage. This weekend would just be about having fun for these guys as well. Gary Bollins would be joined this weekend by daughter Tiffany Alice, and things were going okay so far. It wasn't without its moments for the pair, but then there would be very few crews actually having a clean run this weekend. For Steve Ward and Mike Crawford, it would be second place in Class 12. The times would put them in no man's land a little, with nobody really close in front or behind them on the leaderboard. And Rydian Price and Simon Jones round out the results with third place in Class 3 at this stage, themselves with little chance of that changing based on their stage time so far. Frustration, though, for Martin and Dawn England. Their rally would come to an end in service when they reached the midway point of the rally with a suspected turbo failure, putting an end to their day in that new car. The morning action would also see us lose Sarah Williams and Patrick Walsh. The pace had been good for the pair. There certainly was evidence of trying as well. The stages were certainly taking their toll then on the crews and on the leaderboard. We also lose Colin and Martin Griffiths when they go OTL after a problem in the second stage of the day. And it will be a very similar story for Sean Ellis and Dan Niroda. They go OTL in stage 2, don't make it out in the afternoon, more frustration. Sadly as well for Gavin Edwards and Karen Tomlinson, it will be 6 minutes in a ditch that ended their rally. The pair probably could have continued, but a result would have been out of the question. And we also lose Jake McKenna and Cal McElhenney, the car showing signs of its demise in the stages before actually eventually stopping a short time later. So with the morning stages complete, the results at the top of the final round of the Welsh Rally Championship look like this. Onto the afternoon stages then, and there would be change in Class 3. Rydian Price and Simon Jones managed to take second in the class due to retirements up ahead, which we'll see very soon. For Steve Ward and Mike Crawford, it will be second place in Class 12. They have a good run this weekend to end their season with their highest class points to date. And for Gary and Tiffany Alice Bollins, it will be 12th place, which is good enough for third in class this weekend for the pair. It will be a good weekend for Tim Keynes and Richard May. They have a steady run to reach the end of the event with 11th place overall and the Class 6 victory, enough to net them the front-wheel drive Class 6 win overall for the season. James Watkins and Richard Suter finally get some good luck this season. They reach the end of the rally with that 10th place overall, happy with the progress being made in the car. And Tim Freeman and Felix Wiseman take the steady approach to finish in 9th place. Their plan paid off. They avoid any problems this weekend. They do reach the finish. It will be third in the N4 class for Simon Dalton and Jamie Vaughan at the end of the rally. And indeed, that's where they will be ending the championship. Third place for Dalton this season. Dave Brick and Phil Clark will be the Class 3 winners this weekend, and they were certainly trying. You could see it on the stages, almost getting it wrong on one section of the stage. They take victory, partly due to the retirement of previous class leaders Chris Powell and Jim Lewis. They retire in the first stage of the afternoon. The championship battle this weekend had gone the right way then for Wook Utting and Bob Stocko. Second in the N4 class this weekend, and that would get them second in the championship overall this season. The Group N victory as well. It will be a good end to the event for Ashley Davies and Sam Fordham. First place in Class 7 on the event, giving them a great finish in the championship this season too. And for Simon Thomas and Mark Williams, it will be second in Class 8 today. That result putting them just outside the podium places with 4th place overall. Frustratingly for Andrew Jones and Keaton Williams, they'd miss out on that runner-up spot in the championship, having to settle for 3rd, which of course was still a fantastic result for the pair, especially given the talent that we've seen in the Welsh Rally Championship this season. Runner-up this weekend, though, will be Paul Davey and Roger Allen. They, of course, lead the way in the Group N class with that result, but a few non-finishes this season had stopped them gaining a better result overall. And taking victory here at the Wydene Rally was Sean Gardner and Ben Innes. They hadn't felt the pace was any good, but clearly something had gone right underfoot or under tyre. They take victory at the final round of the Welsh Rally Championship for 2016. So before we chat to our winners, here's a reminder of those final overall results. Sean, Ben, I'm sure you didn't really know what to expect coming into this, and the change of tyres halfway through probably pays testament to that, but what a result. First in the Welsh Rally Championship.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, really, because it's a bit harsh to say I'm not enjoying my rallying, but I'm certainly not comfortable with the car and myself, really. But nevertheless, we're here again. But we've got a bit of a battle scar on her, but we made it because it has been, in all fairness, horrendous out there. It's been proper rallying country, you know, to say the least, and it definitely does part the boys from the men that's for sure.
Ben, when people take a bit of a lull out of the sport after being at the top of the game, which you guys were last time you did a full season, normally they come back with a bigger, better, faster car. You came back with the same car, so to be pushing these results against people who have moved on in that time is quite a feat, isn't it? It's not easy, but you're doing it.
Well, the car has been upgraded as time has gone along, and then I just make Sean drive faster.
Well, I think from what we've seen today in challenging conditions, as we've come to expect from the Wydene over the years, it's great to have the Wydene back, and it is well and truly back on the Welsh Rally calendar. Bit of a clue, perhaps, on the podium as to some of the battles that we can expect next season. Coming up next on Special Stage Extra, more rally action. Don't go away. The Dukeries Rally would once again return to Donington Park Circuit and would provide plenty of entertainment for the crews and the crowds. Ashley Field leads the crews away in the Darien, with Martin Hodgson in second, and Graham Bell is the first of the four-wheel drive entries in that Millington Proton. Onto the stages then, and it would be the early lead for Ashley Field and Steve McNulty in the Darien. Number 1 on the door and looking to make sure that's where it stays this year. Field would have a good advantage over Graham Bell and Russ Radford as well. First of the four-wheel drive crews on the entry, and indeed on the results now as they lie just over a minute back from the Darien. For Martin Hodgson and Tony Jones, it will be third. The times were closer in this position, with just 10 seconds between themselves and Bell up ahead. And it will be 13 seconds back to Lee Edwards and Mike Roberts in the BMW. The fourth place crew were 13 seconds back from Hodgson in the class and overall results, and they certainly looked to be having fun out on those stages. For Craig and Alex Fleming, it would be the Class 3 lead at this stage of the rally. Things were going well for the pair. They opened up a small lead in that class, as well as their 5th place overall on the leaderboard. And second in that class behind Fleming were Roger and Sam Cox. 12 seconds was the difference at this stage, but their class and overall place was under pressure from behind. Also in that class were Tom Walster and Chris Ridge. They were just a single second behind Cox now, and not far off the class lead either. So the afternoon stages would likely see a big push to see if they could change that around for the class win. Dave Welsh and Stuart Proctor had a run of four-wheel drive cars in Class 5 at this point in the top 10. 8th place for the pair, who were lying second in the class at this stage behind Bell up in second. They'd have an 8-second advantage as well over the Subaru of John Griffiths and Paul Gold. 3rd in the class and 9th place on the leaderboard now. And rounding out the top 10, as well as taking 4th place in the class for now, was Simon Belcher and Peter Butler, themselves only 7 seconds behind Griffiths now. In some of the classes outside the top 10, it will be 4th place in Class 4 at this stage for Mike Taylor and Martin Haggett, just missing out on that top 10 overall in 11th. And just behind Taylor on the overall leaderboard was Craig McIntosh with Paul Vasey alongside. 12th place overall, but lying 5th in Class 5. For Dean Baker and Andy Faulkner, it will be 4th place in Class 3 at this stage. They were lying in 14th overall too, setting some startling times. They'd have a small advantage of 15 seconds in that place. Adrian Baker and Danny Smith close behind them for 5th in the class now, although a few places back overall in 17th. It will be a good start to the rally for Richard Bliss and Jamie Vaughan. They open up a small lead in Class 2 now. The times were close, but they did have a 12-second advantage. And that advantage would be over Matt Wood and Ricky Musson. 2nd in the class behind Bliss, but a few places back overall in 21st. Robert Lowe and Sam Bailey, meanwhile, probably would have been hoping for a better start to the rally. They lie 5th in the class at this stage, down in 23rd on our leaderboard. And it will be a steady start to the event for Paul Rees and Paul Briggs. They end the morning with 3rd place in Class 2 and 29th overall. Paddy and Tom Homan make the ideal start in Class 1, leading the way there at the midway point in the event and with a 26-second advantage. 11 seconds back on the overall results at this stage were John Stevens and Stephen Moises. They take up 4th place in Class 2 at this stage as well. And they would be on exactly the same time overall as Fred Field and Phil Hall. That battle for the later places in Class 2 really couldn't be any closer at this stage. John and Ryan Godbearer have a good advantage in 2nd place in Class 1 at this stage. They might not be close enough to the lead to take victory today, or so it was looking, but 2nd was at least looking fairly safe if everything went to plan through the afternoon. And that lead will be over Trevor and Mark Jones, who lie 3rd in the class at this stage. The gap between the pair would be over a minute now. And indeed, it would be just less than a minute further back to 4th place in the class, Emma Bennison and Paul Webb. They take up 48th place on the leaderboard now. They'd be looking in their mirrors, though, for Rob Jones and Tony Archer. The pair only 4 seconds back from Bennison now, and of course more than capable of that changing in the afternoon. We have a Class 0 this weekend, and there would only be 2 crews in it. It will be Christian Waite and Chris Sheridan taking the lead there, and it will be a significant one too. Brian Robinson and Andy Johnson taking 2nd place in the class, but over 3 minutes down now. Not everyone was having good luck this weekend though. The conditions would be catching many people out, including Ian and Nick Coleman in the Nissan Sunny. They get it all out of shape on one of the slippery corners and are fired off the track. Caught here on board with Lee Edwards. They do continue and lying 26th overall by the midpoint in the rally. So 4 stages complete here at Donington. The results at the top of the leaderboard look like this. So on to the afternoon stages then, and there would of course be no change to that Class 0 result. We see Brian Robinson and Andy Johnson taking 2nd in that class. That does mean that it's the class win this weekend for Christian Waite and Chris Sheridan. A good result for the pair to finish with a good lead in the class. Craig Aston and Nick Baker move up our results slightly in the 2nd half of the rally to take 5th place in Class 1 at the end of the rally. And for Emma Bennison and Paul Webb, it will be 4th place in the class. No change for them in the final part of the day as they keep hold of that class position. Rob Jones and Tony Archer have a good afternoon to jump up our results and take 3rd place in the class at the end of the event after holding 5th through the morning stages. It's a move up to 2nd in Class 1 for Trevor and Mark Jones through the afternoon. They take that position and hold on to it to the finish to take 40th on the leaderboard too. But taking victory in that class were John and Ryan Godbearer. They take the place after the loss of Paddy Homan down to 6th in the class by the finish. Craig Stevens and Don Bramford step up to take 5th place in Class 2 at the finish of the rally. They move up to that position to take 30th overall. And John Stevens and Stephen Moises finish 4th in the class. There will be no change to the results for them, aside from a step up overall into 26th. And things will be going better now for Fred Field and Phil Hall through the afternoon. They managed to step up from 5th to 3rd in the class, ending the rally with that class podium position. And it will be a step up in the class as well for Paul Rees and Paul Briggs too. They end the event with 2nd in the class after the loss of Matt Wood from that position through the afternoon. Adrian Warrant and Claire Law join the crews, stepping up the results as the day goes on. They end the rally with 5th place in Class 4 in the BMW. And much the same story for Stephen and Catherine Booth, stepping up from 6th to 5th in Class 3 and taking 17th overall too. And it will be even better for Mark Smith and Jeremy Rogers. 4th place in the class for them at the end of the rally after jumping up a few positions from 7th in the class this morning. There would be no problems this weekend though for Richard Bliss and Jamie Vaughan. They take victory in Class 2, a good result after leading the way there all day. Ray Reid and Stuart Anderson-Peters gained plenty of time in the afternoon to end the rally with 5th place in Class 5, as well as 12th place on our leaderboard. And they would, in fact, be only a single second behind Dean Baker and Andrew Faulkner, finishing in 11th overall and showing just how close the battle had been today. The battle was in Class 3, where they end the event with 3rd place in the class. Sadly, we lose Dave Welsh and Stuart Proctor from the top 10. They retire with gearbox issues, meaning a shake-up, of course, in the top of the results for some people. On to the top 10 then, and it would be that 10th spot for Craig McIntosh and Paul Vasey. They take 4th place in Class 5 as well with that result. For Mike Taylor and Martin Haggett, who will be a little step up in the results to take 9th place by the end of the rally, as well as taking 4th in Class 4. And they would actually finish on an identical time to Simon Belcher and Peter Butler. 3rd place in Class 5 for this pair as they end the rally with 8th place in the Impreza. For John Griffiths and Paul Gold, it will be 2nd place in Class 5. They finished 24 seconds ahead of Belcher on the results in the class and overall. Tom Walster and Chris Ridge, meanwhile, have a great weekend, and without any drama in that new car, they end the rally with 6th place overall, taking 2nd in Class 2. And Walster would finish just 10 seconds back from the class lead. Taking that victory at the end of the event will be Craig and Alex Fleming. The class win was theirs, along with 5th place overall. And it's a good end to the weekend for Lee Edwards and Mike Roberts. They take 4th place overall and 3rd in the class away with them in that BMW. There wouldn't really be much of a change, though, at the top of the results as far as the podium places were concerned. Martin Hodgson and Tony Jones ending the event 3rd place overall, taking 2nd in the class. It would, though, be the class win for Graham Bell and Russ Radford. They take that with a fantastic finish of 2nd place overall in the Proton. But taking victory here in Donington and showing some good pace in the Darien that, of course, we've seen in the Motorsport News Circuit Rally Championship were Ashley Field and Steve McNulty, taking victory by over 2 minutes at the end of the day's 7 stages. So at the end of the event, the results at the top of the leaderboard look like this. Well, that's all we've got time for here on Special Stage Extra. We've got loads more shows going out from now into Christmas, across into the new year. So if we don't see you stateside at one of the Motorsport News Circuit Rally Championship rounds, for example, we'll see you on our free-to-download Special Stage app. Have a great Christmas, and we will see you rallying very soon.